Marcus Coward, and this is Wake Up New Bedford. I am here with Big Chan.
How are you?
I'm great. Nice. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And so, for those who don't know you, but if you're from the area, then it'd be hard not to. Okay. Then tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Then we'll start there.
Okay, so my name is Chan. Everyone knows me as Big Chan, or Chan with the plan, or whatever.
Okay.
I'm from New Bedford. I moved here originally when I was about 5 or 6 years old. So I would say I'm from New Bedford at this point.
For sure.
Yeah, that's about 20 years. So firstly, I'm a cook. Most people know me from that, just working in different restaurants in the area.
Okay.
I've been working with like the company Served Well. So I've been at Cisco, Black Whale, Sail Loft. So that's where most people know me from.
Sure.
However, some people know me from like just being involved in the community with my music and art. That's like the first thing that I do is just music. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, where were you coming from?
Dorchester.
Dorchester.
Yep, Dorchester.
Cool.
Yep.
And then, so do you have any siblings?
I do. So I'm the oldest of 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So my brother, he's 2 years younger than me. Then my little sister is 7 years younger than me. Yep.
And so, being the oldest, did you feel like that was hard or a challenge, or did you like that?
Oh, it's definitely a challenge. Definitely
Yeah.
a challenge because I mean, me and my brother aren't too far apart in age.
Sure.
And then we have like the 7-year gap with me and my younger sister. She just turned 22 now, so
Okay.
it's more fun now. We can do things together.
Yeah.
But they challenge me a lot as a older sisters, especially when
Yeah.
I'm babysitting and doing all these other things. Like they're rambunctious kids, so I mean.
Yeah. I'm like in the middle, and I have like a older sister who's 31, and then an older brother who's 27, and I feel like they would have described me as difficult rather than rambunctious.
Yeah, right.
That's like
a
in the middle word for sure. Not too good, not too bad.
Yeah.
But okay, so what was the first school you remember going to when you were here?
I went to AJ Gomes.
Oh, you went to Gomes.
Yep,
Okay,
that was the first school I
sure.
went to. I wasn't there for too long. So when we first moved here, we got an apartment in the South End, and it was right across the street from there. So
Cool.
yeah, so that was the first place we moved. But after that, we got an apartment in Temple Landing right here, which is United Front Homes.
Yeah, exactly.
So after that, I was there ever since. I've seen my elementary graduation, middle school, high school.
Yeah.
I started college. I was still living at home,
Sure.
until I moved on to campus, and then I came back to New Bedford because at that moment in time, I just felt like school wasn't the right move for me at that moment.
Sure.
I definitely want to go back to school and finish, but I just felt like I needed to take my music by the horns and and go with that. So.
And then, so just continuing on with your education, so you went to Gomes, then where'd you go for middle and high school?
So I went to Keith Middle School.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2010. I started in Bedford High.
Okay, cool.
Yep, and then I graduated in 2014.
And so that was the new Keith that you were going to? That's
Brand
like
new.
across the street?
That was the second year of brand new kids going in, so I got to experience it super fresh, super clean.
Yeah.
It was definitely like a cool change from, to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
After Gomes, we moved to Temple Landing and I went to Kearney Academy. That's where I finished elementary school.
Cool.
So it was definitely a change from being in elementary school into such a nice brand new middle school. It was super cool.
Yeah, okay. And so, were you looking forward to Bedford High being like right across the street?
No. I'm not. I'm going to be real with you. I wasn't.
Yeah,
I heard scary things. I'm not going to lie. But once I got in there, I mean, I am super grateful for the friends that I did have in elementary school and middle school because we stood very close-knit. So, in saying so, high school wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be because of that.
A lot of your friends did go to Bedford High with you?
Yes. And a lot of them did go to Voc, too.
Sure.
But, and like in God's grace, we all stood connected, which is super cool. Like we had boys club at the end of the month, end of the day too. So we would all just kind of rekindle back at boys club and have fun there. So I was super grateful to have that type of relationship with my friends for sure.
And so, were you even thinking about going to Voc, or you just knew you were going to go to Bedford High, but you were still kind of scared of it?
I applied to Voc and I got in.
Okay.
I didn't get the shop that I wanted.
Sure.
So, and then at that time I was very heavily invested in basketball. That was my career choice at the time.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to go into Bedford High. We had Lexi Barrows, Alyssa Roach playing.
Yeah, okay.
We had big players there, so
sure.
I wanted to be with the best. So
okay.
I decided to make a move to Bedford High,
Now, what was the shop you wanted at Voc?
Culinary.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended up getting automotive. Yeah.
Nothing close. Okay.
Yeah, nothing close. And I kind of like, sometimes I wish I'm like, maybe if I stood, I would know a lot more things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But that just wasn't where my heart was at the moment. So
for sure.
I just decided to, just do my general studies at River High, be in clubs. I was in drama club. I played volleyball, softball, basketball, and I also was in the yearbook club.
Okay.
And that's where I felt like I found my love for like editing, journalism.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And so rewinding a little bit, because you said your career choice was going to be basketball.
Yes.
But then if you were to have your shop of choice at Vogue, it was going to be culinary.
Yes.
Okay, so which love came first for you?
Well, I mean, my mom went to culinary school.
Okay.
I have a lot of family members that are cooks and went to culinary schools. And I've always loved cooking. I've always loved it. It was never really a choice for me, but I'm like, if I'm going to do something I like, it's going to be cooking.
Interesting.
So, one of my first jobs actually, it's not really in the culinary like aspect as like we may think.
Okay.
But it was at Wendy's. So like
definitely not where my phone do. Okay.
And then like just working at Wendy's and becoming a manager there, like after a few years, I just fell in love with fixing what's going on in these places that aren't really like great habits.
Sure.
So that's where I feel like I've gotten like most of my managerial like skills from, just in general. Just so I'm kind of glad that I went through that experience.
Sure.
And it was right there next to UMass Dartmouth when I was on campus. So that was perfect. My cousin was working there at the time too, so he got me in like no problem.
Cool. And that was your first job?
It wasn't my first job. So I worked with New Directions when I was younger. But so New Directions, I'm not sure if they're actually still active. It's right on Dover Street downtown. But it's for youth, pretty much, like to help them get jobs. So they pretty much made a program where like they partner with different community like members and like different businesses, and it was like, listen, we want kids to start working. So if you need a work permit, but like if you were 12, 13, you know what I mean, like you could start working early.
Okay.
So I was working at Carney Daycare because I would go there after school.
Sure.
In elementary school. I was already volunteering, so there was like, why not just stay there and we can pay you? So I said, okay. So that was my first job, but my second like actual job was Wendy's.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so that motivation to start working so young, would you say that was pretty natural, or you got it from somewhere?
I mean, my mom's always been a hard worker. There was 3 of us, and it was just her. Like, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, she's always worked hard, always done what she needs to do. She worked at Subway, didn't want to, you know what I mean? But she ended up getting her degree, went to BCC, and now she's been at the hospital for about 21 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, she's in radiology. So I feel like I really got that from my mom. But also there's just a lot of things going on, like to be transparent, like with like my sexuality and how I wanted to become and what I wanted to dress like. My mom would tell me, if you want to wear your own clothes, buy them. And I said, okay. So I just found a way to, like with my mom's help as well too. Like she was never the person to like not let me accomplish what I wanted to do.
Sure.
So I found a way to start working, and it worked out that way. So I was taking myself back to school shopping at like 14, 15 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I wanted the control of what I wanted to feel like and look like and just be myself. So.
And so you realized that at a pretty young age, is that something you talk to about your friends too?
Oh yeah. And it's cool too because I still have some really close friends from around that time, so they saw the change happen, like. Okay. And like I wasn't as outgoing as I am now. I was super shy. I was afraid to speak up for myself. Like even if it wasn't anything negative, like I would just even like ordering food at a restaurant, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like yeah. So
there's
like
a lot of people like that.
Yeah, right. So it's just like it's super cool to like actually talk to them about these things and like because they were there, so they know exactly where I'm coming from already. You know what I mean? And it's cool to explain to new people as well because they didn't know that version of me.
Sure.
So it's just dope. Yeah.
So. I mean, both of my older siblings have no trouble with being outgoing, but I just thought that was a trait that older siblings were going to have. But are your younger siblings, did they also adopt like being a little bit more introverted or not as outgoing, or are they kind of opposite from you?
Oh no, they're both still totally opposite for me.
Yeah,
like if I had the choice to stay inside and not say a word, that's what I'm going to do. Like,
really? Okay.
Yeah, but my younger sister, she's very outspoken. Like she's. And I think it's like in the newer generation, like the 20, like the 18 to 23 right now. Like they just go for it.
Out there.
Yeah, she's in UMass Dartmouth right now too. She's obtaining a business degree.
Okay.
So so she says what's on her mind, doesn't care how it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My brother, he actually just like moved to Malden. He's doing a lot of like work. I don't know the exact title, but he's like doing like eye surgeries.
Oh,
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's studying that. He was in school for medical assistant at Vogue as well. So.
And so, were you really the only child from your mom who adopted that love of culinary?
My sister actually took culinary in Vogue, but that was not her choice because she wants to do cosmetology. So she ended up just sticking with it because like my mom was there to help her out. You know what I mean? Like she's a really smart girl, so it's not like she couldn't do it. That's just not her choice.
Yeah, of course.
At all.
Yeah, that's very specific.
Yeah, my brother's the only one that got what he wanted. He picked medical assistant, and I guess it was easier because he was the only guy in medical assistant. So of course they invited him in, no problem.
Yeah, they want the diversity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and he's outspoken too. Like he has no problem saying whatever it is needs to be said. I'm more cautious where it's like, okay, if I say this, how's it gonna affect the other person? And then how's that gonna affect me? And then now, how am I gonna handle the situation if we're both affected?
Sure. Okay.
So that's why I choose at times to address something either later or not at all. But I'm learning.
So that internal battle you were having with like how it would affect you and the other person in the situation.
Yep.
Did you realize that when you were younger or older, like looking back on why you were so introverted?
So I can say now that I can see why I was so introverted.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I didn't want to deal with it at all. Now that I'm older, I'm thinking about how it's gonna set the mood, how I'm gonna affect the tone of what's going on. I feel like the best way to do that is just to do it. You know what I mean? Like now I know that. You can always think about your approach when it comes to certain things. And it doesn't have to be necessarily negative. It could be on a positive note too, especially with like the stuff that I'm doing, like in the industries I'm choosing to be in.
Sure.
You have to have clear, effective communication. So I'm learning how to communicate effectively, even with like your friendships, relationships, like, so that's just one thing that I'm big on like growing about is effective communication.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you learned that not from anywhere, more so just trial and error in your own life? Definitely
trial and error. I mean, in that case, I would learn it from somewhere. So it's like just dealing with certain situations where it's like I could have addressed something and it wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Well, I guess even when I was younger, like I remember like I was also really introverted too, but I would look on YouTube for like either pickup artists or like confidence gurus or things like that. You know? But you didn't do that necessarily. You was more so just by like talking to people.
Yeah, I mean I do it now too. Like it's like I'll literally type in Google how to, like because I'm like okay maybe if I get other opinions from around the world, you know what I mean? It's not just like one opinion from like somebody here that maybe like haven't experienced it in the level that I'm experiencing it or experience it at all. Or like sometimes people speak on things that they don't really necessarily know about.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I would literally go online because people know what they're talking about online for the most part. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and they have to have the confidence in order to put it out there.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So they don't want to like sound dumb.
Especially like anonymous like groups. Like people are totally like vulnerable and open.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I definitely like to check that. I'll Google anything just so I make sure I know what I'm kind of talking about. Or like I like to research what I'm talking about before I do.
And especially, I have a good friend. I don't know if you know Trayvon Howard.
Yes, we were really good friends. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
He's like brothers with my brother Tyler Howard.
Yep.
And like so he's cool. And I just was there. Now he was into fashion when he was younger, but then opened up a store like for custom rugs.
Yeah.
In between that, he was really into music, and so he learned music on his own. No one taught him, but he just like YouTubed it. You know, did all that. So. Did you find yourself also just like using YouTube University in order to teach yourself music?
Oh yes.
Okay.
So to give you a little perspective, so around the time I was at UMass, I finished my first year on campus.
Okay.
And that's when Forest Hill Drive came out.
Oh sure, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I was like, I've always written poetry since I was a kid.
Okay.
Like poems,
Cool.
a bunch of poems. I've tried to write songs, but I just didn't know how to actually execute it.
Sure.
So I reached out on Facebook and I was like, hey, listen, I have this song I want to do, and this album made me want to do music.
Yes.
So
it's so good. Yes.
So I'm just like, all right, like I want to do some J. Cole stuff. Like I want to I want to be a rapper. Like
yeah.
So I reached out on Facebook and I actually got in contact with Lano Walker. I'm not sure if you know Lano. Yeah. Really good friend of mine. Literally like the brother, like the older brother I never had.
Sure.
He's the one that's getting me involved in Windworks, Offshore Wind. He recorded my first single, recorded my first album.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like he's the one who's getting me locked in with like all these events that I'm actually like if it wasn't for Lano Walker, I don't know what I would be right now in this moment in time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
how did you find him?
So
like you said on Facebook.
Yeah, so a friend of mine actually was like, hey, I know this person that just moved here from Boston.
Okay.
They have a studio. They're trying to get more clientele. So I said, okay, cool. He sent me like the information. I said, perfect. I hit him up. We set it up for the next day.
Wow.
Which was like, super fortunate. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't think I was really ready for the next day. But I was like, you know what, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
I was a little uncomfortable, but he was like, nice enough to make me feel comfortable, like help me out. Like I'm telling him this is my first time in the studio. We fell in love with each other instantly. Like, I was there once a week, after that twice a week.
Wow.
And then now, like, I'm having, like, lunch with him and his wife. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
because, like, we had a lot more to talk about just, like, other than music. So, yeah, so after that, I was going to these sessions, and I appreciated it, but I didn't want to pay for it anymore. I didn't. It was getting pretty expensive. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just take a second and learn how to do this myself.
Yeah.
So it took me, I want to say maybe like a solid, like maybe year to figure out how I wanted to do it, if I was doing it right. And my friend, well, not my friend, he's more like my friend, but like my cousin, Tyrone, he actually took over what Lano was doing for the studio stuff.
Sure.
So I ended up actually going back, like, and the prices became more reasonable because that's family.
For sure.
He was teaching me things as I like went on, like because I was downloading the same things I was just copying him, just so I can know kind of how to do things.
Exactly.
And I also have a friend. His name is Nick. I don't know if you heard of Nick Missile, Anti-Missile. He does music as well. We were cool during high school, but we never hung out. And he was just like, oh, I see what you're doing. Let's make a song.
Okay.
After that, inseparable. Like, that's one of my best friends. But, him and Tyrone were pretty much doing the same thing. They did music together too. So they like teamed up and just both helped me. Yeah. Yeah. And so from there, I just learned how to do everything else by myself. Like the basics, I pretty much learned from them. But YouTube.
But this was after high school. Yeah. Okay,
it was right. It was right after. So it was actually after my first year on campus. Yeah. So that's when I decided I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take a small break from school, and I ended up enrolling in BCC and getting my bachelor's degree, and then
in what?
Criminal justice.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So at that moment in time, I was definitely interested in criminal justice, especially with the stuff that was going on, and I've always had this love for like law.
Yeah, sure.
Like, and I just like to be aware and know my rights.
What did you see yourself doing with criminal justice?
I wanted to be a criminal defense lawyer.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. At that time, there was a lot going on with, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know I had a bunch of passions for different things.
Absolutely.
So that was the goal at that moment, and then I was just like, yeah, you know what? No, I still want to do music. So I'm like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. And
is it because it was just your passion and you were going to figure out the money part later, or you saw that there was a future with making money with music?
Yeah, so at that point in time, I just wanted to make music. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to do it, see if I could do it, and see if anything would come from it. And it did. I mean, a lot of people was like, I didn't know you had an idea of wanting to do this. Yeah. I actually kind of like it a lot, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, like, and I liked my own music a lot. When I look back at it now, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cringy.
Oh,
like,
that's all. That's all.
Yeah, but so that's when I would start performing with like organizations downtown and putting my music out on SoundCloud because I wasn't too sure how to do it like the professional way on all streaming platforms. Yeah. So I'll just do stuff there, and then I started shooting music videos, and then I was just like, all right, I can definitely make money from this. I was like, I'm wasting a lot of money on it and not really getting anything in return. So I'm trying to find ways to do that.
When was the first song you recorded, and when was the first music video?
Okay, so the first song I recorded, it's called March 28th, the remix, because J. Cole has a song on that album called January 28th. That's his birthday.
Yeah.
March 28th is my birthday.
Got you.
So that was just like an intro song to it's a little bit about me. It was when I was working at Wendy's. It was just about my work day, about how I go about my day, and what my goals are. I did that with Lionel Walker, and I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
And then music video.
Music video. So that same album, so that album is just a bunch of remixes of like current songs that were like popping. So, I did a remix to a Future and Metro Boomin song. I forget the name of the song, but that was my first music video. The song's called Kim Possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. I thought it was fire at the time too, but so that was my first music video.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I lied. I'm sorry. I did a music video called By the Fifth.
Okay.
That was my first video that I put out on my platforms.
Okay.
But my first video that I did with Lionel that's on his channel was called Kim Possible.
Sure. Okay. And so rewinding a little bit, okay, because now we're talking about adulthood, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened to basketball?
Yeah, I stopped going to school. That's really what it was. Yeah, like
That'll do it.
Yeah. I stopped. I decided to not go to school. I mean, I would play basketball like just for exercise, for fun. But that's something that I'm actually talking with my friend Lexi about. Lexi Barros. She does like a lot of like open practices, skills practices, and she wants to start a women's league.
Oh shoot!
Yeah,
that'd be fire.
So I mean, there's no opportunity really out here for women to play ball. Like you know what I mean. So that's something that's in the works. School. Exactly, unless you're enrolled in school.
Yes. Exactly.
So I mean, there's Boys and Girls Club. They have their stuff going on. I'm pretty sure schools, like high school, you know what I mean. They have their women's team.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there really isn't anything. You know what I mean? So.
Is there a men's league?
I really don't think so either. I mean, there's like AAU and stuff like that, but there's not really opportunities for a women's team to be just that outside of like high school or college. Totally, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that would be a super dope thing. I know a lot of people that would be interested. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to get back into it for sure. I miss it.
Yeah. No, I bet. I mean, and just with adulthood, but also leaving school, you're also like leaving team sports.
Yes.
For so many people, unless you go to that professional level, and so. You ended up playing volleyball, basketball, and what else you said in high school?
It was softball.
And softball?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would be your second favorite sport that you were playing?
Volleyball, definitely.
Yeah, volleyball?
Yeah.
Because volleyball is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah,
like, no joke, but it's fun. It's intense. I like competition. I like intensity, so. Yeah. Those are my sports of choice.
Were you a natural athlete, would you say? Were you doing that when you were younger?
Yeah. I mean, I played on elementary school teams too.
Sure.
I played for the Kearney Mustangs.
Okay,
Yeah, I played in middle school, and that's how I got actually introduced to volleyball, because the high school coach for the freshman team, she would come over to Keith and introduce like volleyball to the 8th graders, because I guess they needed people to play in order to keep the program up. So that's when I learned, and I was like, you know what, I like volleyball. It's super dope. So I've always been super active. I'm the least active I've been now, just because I'm doing so much otherwise. But like I still try to go to the gym and stuff. It's just like I don't do sports anymore. So I need to like introduce that back into my life. It's tough right now, but
yeah. And so rewinding even a little bit more, talking about music and poetry, okay? Was it definitely you were gonna rap, or because I've heard some of your music and you have a good voice.
Thank
you.
You.
Did you ever think about singing?
So that's what. Okay, so I started off rapping because that's what I just thought like I could do.
Sure.
I mean, I've written poems and I've recited them to myself. I'm like, okay, I do have like a pretty good like rap voice. But R&B music is my number one love. Like.
Okay.
I was just nervous to sing because I've always sang for my friends, my family.
Okay.
I was never really a rapper, so I took a break from music just for a little bit, and I was like, all right, what do I want to do?
When's this break?
Right.
Like in your life?
Yeah, like either singing or rapping, like so.
No, I'm saying like when, like what year, like how old?
Oh, okay, so I would want to say about 23. So this was about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
So I was just like, all right. I was working a lot at the time, like just for my day job.
Yeah.
So I was working about 65 hours a week. I had no time for yeah.
Why? Why were you working so much?
I mean, I was trying to save up for like some things I wanted. Like I think my car had broken down at the time, and then I was looking to move out of my mom's house. So I was just like, all right, I need to focus on making money right now.
You want to grind.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to take a break from things that aren't really making you money.
For sure.
Yeah. So I took a little break, and I was like, all right, I'm working on this, but also when I come back, I need to have a sound because I was just doing random things. You know what I mean? So I took a little bit. I took like about a year and a half. I didn't put out anything at all, and then after that, I didn't put out anything for 3 years. I was just studying, and I was making music, but I just wasn't releasing anything.
Okay.
And so that's where this kind of comes into play with this album that I'm dropping next month. It's all singing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 singles out right now. They're singing songs.
Okay.
They're R&B songs. So this album that I'm putting out now, it's just an accumulation of all the songs I've been doing for the past 5 years.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to ask that. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you re-record it, or it's from those recordings from back then?
So 2 of them I could save the recordings, but because I upgraded my my DAW.
Sure. Yeah.
It wasn't compatible with what I have now, which is Logic Pro, and I was using GarageBand before.
Oh, okay, wow.
So my vocals would not translate into Logic, so I'm like, okay, I have to record this all over again, and that's why it maybe took an extra 2 years, because it was 10 songs. 10 songs, and my voice sounds different now. Like,
I bet.
When I was younger, my voice was a lot more high pitched. It still can get to that, but it's not as seamless now. Yeah. Like I'm taking vocal lessons now to try to get that back, but it's tough. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take my time, and when I know when I'm gonna drop, which is, I feel like the time is like right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's gonna come out on my birthday too, so I can celebrate.
Did you like the concepts of when you recorded it before? You just had to like re-record it for the voice because the audio wasn't there. Yeah, literally that's what it was. Like there's no audio. It's all blank. Whenever I try to transfer it into it, some of the songs I removed. I added some more songs on too. Sure. So it was just really taking the concept of the project I wanted to put out and making sure there was a structure to it, and not just because, like I said before, I was dropping random songs. Like so. I really wanted to make it like a project. And now, when you say random, are you saying that they didn't have other songs to make more of a concept, or was there not even really a concept for that single, and you were just kind of like talking your shit a little bit? Yeah. So both. So that's when I was just exploring and like experimenting of what I could do. I was doing some R&B feel songs, some straight rap songs, some trap songs. Yeah. Like I did a rock song just because. Really? Yeah. So okay. I'm just like, okay, like it made sense, but it's not making sense. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna evaluate what type of music I would like to make. And if so my thing is like you have to have. Everyone can have their own opinion about it, but I feel like you have to make your statement with a certain sound first. Yeah, for sure. And build your following to the point where you have followers that will follow you no matter what you do. Yep. So that's my goal right now, is trying to grow my fan base. I think I've done a pretty good job in this area. So I'm just trying to move on to different areas. I traveled to North Carolina to make some connections. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm trying to go to Georgia, and New York, places like that this year. So my goal really is like just traveling and grow my fan base, and just putting out this new project for people to listen to. Okay. And so do you feel like you have a solid fan base in New Bedford right now? I do, honestly, yeah. I mean, it's not every person in New Bedford, and I know it's never going to be that. But I think I've done a pretty good job of like getting my name out there in the city. And so this will be the last question, because we're wrapping up part one. But a lot of people say that it's much harder to get known and recognized and even respected as an artist in your hometown rather than other places. Yeah. Would you say that's true? That's very true. Okay. It's very true. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are trying to do the same thing in this area, so there's a lot of like competition and ego that come into play. Sure. But I mean, and you kind of have to like have that to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But like I'm just about working together. Like you can push the envelope into actually becoming a known city for art and music. That's why it's called Secret City, because no one really knows. You know what I mean? And I feel like
up in the Boston area, even here, like there's not really a sound for Massachusetts.
Yeah,
like you can tell someone's from Cali just off listening to one song. You can tell from Florida,
or
South, New York,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you hear artists, you can't be like, oh, they're from Boston.
Yeah,
they're from New Bedford. They're from Mass. Like, you know what I mean? The South, New York,
Yeah,
exactly. But if you hear artists, you can't be like, oh, they're from Boston.
Yeah,
they're from New Bedford. They're from Mass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even like I would say the most successful person out of Mass is Joyner Lucas, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was from Massachusetts until I actually did my research.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of the sound. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I totally
He's from Worcester. Yeah, so it's like that's cool. They have a scene out there, but it's like I didn't know. Yeah. And I'm from Mass.
Yeah.
So what do you think other people around the world are thinking? They're not thinking Massachusetts off bat.
Yeah.
So it's just really a matter of working together, dropping the egos, and you know. But you have to have some healthy competition. I'm never
absolutely
not a fan of that.
So that's been part 1 with Big Chan, and so catch us in part 2 where we'll talk a little bit about the other ventures that she does. I mean, she DJs, and we didn't even talk about that at all. So she does a lot, and so catch us in part 2 where we can talk a little bit more about what she does. This has been Big Chan on Wake Up New Bedford. Thanks for watching.